Hello, hello, hello again to the I Am Series podcast. I hope you've missed us as much as we have missed you. I have the extreme pleasure and honor to welcome my guest, Phoenix. Hi, Phoenix.
Oh, my love.
How are you?
Excited, grateful, and deeply, deeply honored to be in this experience with you, my love.
I'm so happy for you to know Phoenix doesn't even live in Dubai, where we are hosting this podcast. Phoenix lives in Bali, and no, actually, she lives in Indonesia. But I met her in Bali. Hang on, she lives in Singapore, and I met her in Indonesia, which is where Bali is. Oh my God, my geography is completely out.
It makes sense, my love. I live across multiple realms.
Yes, so true.
It makes sense. It can be confusing. I just want to take this moment just to honor you truly in what you've just expressed and shared with me and your incredible listeners, your divine audience. Just a deep, deep bow of reverence and appreciation and celebration for this journey that you're on. And just to truly express that I honor you, and we are so grateful for all the gifts that you bring to this collective, to this experience, seen and unseen, known and unknown. I get choked up. I am an emotional being.
Aren't we all? Yes. I think we all are emotional beings if we allow it, because a lot of times we don't. Before we move forward, I just want to remind everyone that when we do the I Am Series podcast, we are always focusing on a specific virtue or experience that we go through in our life, which makes our life what it is. And it comes as a no-brainer for us today to talk about...
No brains.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it makes a lot of sense. Just like you always say, you use this word, it makes sense. So it makes sense that today we are focusing on transformation. And the episode today is I Am Transformation. It's a major thing that we go through in life. That's why today, that's what we're going to be talking about.
Indeed. We are transformation. And it makes sense to me, my loves. Again, thank you for the gift of your attention. Thank you for choosing to be in this moment with us. I honor you. You will not be the same being by the end of this episode.
Oh, yay!
You will be transformed. We will be transformed.
I love that. I didn't even have to say it. You're a natural, by the way.
We know. Telepathy.
We're in sync, I guess.
Indeed. Telepathy. Telepathy.
Yeah. Let's talk about that actually, because we were talking, and then the movement that you were going through that had us stop, and I'm going to be using this, believe me, is another way of transformation, because transformation is all about movement, isn't it? Does that speak to you?
Oh, yeah? Resonance.
Yeah.
Indeed. It makes sense to me. We get to define transformation for us, and it makes sense that one of my loving invitations to all beings is, what is your definition of transformation? And what is your relationship with transformation?
That's beautiful. I mean, for me, transformation it's a process. It's something that we all go through. It's not something that is related to only one human being. And I think this is why we're talking about it today. Transformation is, just think of how much we have changed from the day we have appeared in this realm, on this planet, in this life, to today, for me and for you and for everyone around us. Every single person has gone through a huge transformation experience. I remember you sent me the video the other day of that what was it, butterfly that you had on your hand, and we were talking, and you told me, oh my God, I have a butterfly, and then you sent me the video, and it just made sense in that moment to come up with, like, the message was so clear. Okay, this is what you guys are going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about transformation. And it's always interesting to know, just like the butterfly goes through a very peculiar process to come to this life, from transforming from a caterpillar into a butterfly. And if we go through that and dive deep into it, it's not just an easy and simple and let's do this journey. It's kind of a bit of maybe painful, maybe hurtful, maybe difficult journey, but the end result is that beautiful, beautiful butterfly that you see. What do you say about that?
I love that. It feels like you're speaking to the cycle of transformation, that method, or the idea of the method that a butterfly goes through, the metamorphosis, and that it makes sense that there are phases in a cycle of transformation, and perhaps not all of the phases may feel preferable. They may be challenging, they may be painful, or the sensation that we might describe as painful. And yet all phases of the cycle of transformation are so valuable.
Yeah, because every single one of them teaches us something. Like, we don't usually go through a transformation unless there's a learning for us in it, right? I mean, every experience that we go through, at the end, we are transforming. It's like being in a car. Like being in a car, you're not parked, you're moving, and you're moving from point A to point B. Then you park a little bit in point B, and then you have to either go back to point A or move forward to point C. I mean, it's a little bit pragmatic, but it's a very, very valid comparison, because that's how we go through life, from point A to point B to point C. And every single one of them is different. But to move from this one to this one, we have to go through that, transformation trajectory, if I may call it.
Indeed. And it feels like if I could lovingly offer you an alternative, for me, it is not a linear experience. The journey from, in my humble awareness and development of my awareness, that it feels very non-linear for me, almost like a spiral. And so this perception of transformation, and I just want to, it feels like transformation, transcending form, to, in my experience and deeply personal journey with transformation, it was about transcending states of being in a very, I want to say, physical realm, science sense. Transformation meant changing from one state of being to another, like the way water can become ice, so liquid becomes solid, and then that solid can become a gas. And that ability to transform, and in ancient or mythological experiences of transformation, they attached what was alchemy to it, to really shift your state of being. And it feels like we have the ability to become more connected, that we are constantly shifting and transforming, and not necessarily all the time in these big life-changing transformations, but even in a moment. Every day.
Yeah. We do transform every day. It's coming to my mind that when I met you, I remember feeling like, I know her. It's like,
I want to dance in my chair now.
Yeah, you can dance. You may dance. Please dance. And it's like that kind of put me in a place where I was thinking, oh, okay, so how, where, when, how do I know this person? And it's not about the person, really. It's about the soul. It's about what's within. And that transformation that we go through in this realm, in this life, is actually something that our soul longs for in order to transcend, like you say, and in order to learn, and in order to become more and more aware and more in line with what our soul's mission is and what our soul's journey is. And this is, for me, the biggest take from transformation, as in how our soul is transcending or going through that spiral. And I love that you say spiral, because we always talk about spirals. Most of the time we talk about them in a negative way. And for me, a spiral is a movement that goes upwards. It's never something that goes downward. So if I want to think about a spiral, it's always something that is elevating, something that is moving up, where our soul is really vibrationally going higher and higher and learning more and more and becoming more informed and more virtuous. I like to use this word because that's exactly what our soul is learning through this transformation experience, is those virtues that will bring us closer to reality, the reality that we don't see, the reality that we can only feel and sense. And some of us even can know that this reality exists.
Profound. That deep knowing.
Yeah.
That very lived, it lives in me kind of knowing.
Yeah.
It is beyond question.
Exactly. It's like our belief, you know, when we believe, okay, it's sometimes like I like to think about it as a process that we go through in life, and it's also a transformational process, you know, because the more you learn, the closer you are to that higher truth. And that higher truth is the ultimate transformation, in my personal opinion, is when you can reach and learn and know, and, you know, you reach a point where transformation becomes like your second nature. It's like, okay, yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I mean, this is easy. I know how to do it. I am happy to do it. I feel grateful that I'm actually going through this experience. Does that speak to you?
Oh, gratitude. I feel like if you're truly beginning to align with embracing transformation, gratitude would be one of your most powerful companions in that journey of aligning with really embracing transformation. So indeed, that resonates with me. And I feel like I understand more now on a profound level from having experienced so many transformations that I became aware of, because it makes sense that we are always transforming, as you gifted us with that expression, sometimes not so consciously.
Yes.
So it feels like you are going to transform no matter what, my loves. And perhaps that experience could be more empowering, more joyful, and more meaningful. And it's up to you to choose, because you always choose and you have free will, my loves. And remember, if I say anything that doesn't align for you, just let it pass like clouds in the sky. It feels like when you become more aware and more conscious of your transformation, what it means to you, your relationship to transformation, whether it has these cycles or familiar patterns, you feel perhaps more empowered to more consciously create value from your transformation. You're going to change anyway, my loves. That part is given.
Yeah.
But how you choose to create more value for yourself and perhaps for others is up to you.
Yeah. I love that you said that, because we always talk about, in season 1, we were really focusing a lot on empowering people and reminding them of how much they actually have.
And can I just get a hell yeah for that?
Yeah.
And thank you. Yes, you are so much about empowering others. And
Yeah.
I love that.
And a lot of people always forget how much power they have, how much, and now you mentioned that there is free will at stake. It's always the case. I can never go from anywhere to anywhere in my life, as in, we're not talking physically, we're talking about transformation here, if I do not allow it. Whether I'm doing it consciously or unconsciously or subconsciously, that's a different story. But my free will is always there. It's like I always say, no one has a gun to your head to do things. When you do things in your life, you always have a choice. And we had a full episode about choices, right? So even when you are transforming, and you so well put it, like you are transforming, whether you know it or not is a different story, but you are transforming, even if you're doing it on a subconscious level, which is happening all the time for us. And when we notice is when we start diving into our inner, like when we start doing our inner journey and going inwards rather than, always being outwards and always being directed towards whatever is happening around us. And just taking a moment and just breathing and looking within. The minute we do that, we start seeing more, clearer.
Clarity.
Right?
Ooh, I love that. Oh, see, I'm transforming.
Yeah,
my skin is
goosebumps.
changing.
Yeah.
That's how we know, my loves. Clarity. And it feels like I want to also tie those two things together. That once we are more open to our transformations, our cycles of transformations, and we choose to become more clear, more clear seeing, more clear feeling, more clear experiencing. And I love how you express that about, you brought breath and presence, I believe, into that formula.
Yes.
Into that information. Information. I love that.
Yeah.
So it feels like when we have that combination of clarity, transformation. Oof.
I like that you said information, because if we combine both, okay, transformation is transcending and learning more, and and information is doing it from within. So that's a formation of all that coming from within to transcend. Wow, I love that.
I feel like we can make some t-shirts from this.
Yes.
I would wear this.
Yes.
I would wear these quotes.
Yes. I mean, and it's, I love that you mentioned that we can do some t-shirts from this. You know why? Because
I want a t-shirt dress, my love.
Okay, good. I love that. Because the thing is, we all are affected, whether we want it or not, whether we like it or not, whether we allow it or not. We're always affected by whatever happens around us. So if we can change anything around us that would help us in that journey of transformation, a t-shirt with that message would be the best thing. Because then, when you look at it, you go like, oh, okay, oh, that's a reminder. It's like having a reminder on your calendar. And in season 1, we had a whole episode about the words that we say and the thoughts that we have, right? I am my thoughts. And every time, and we were talking yesterday about the chicken and the egg, right? What came first? Was it the thought or the word? And for me, it's always a combination of both. And this combination is what allows us to stay tuned, you know, with whatever transformation we're going through. Because sometimes we have a path and we know this path, but at the same time we are somehow blocked and we don't know what is blocking us. And when we do take that breath, when we do live in that moment and allow ourselves to, I don't want to say think, I want to say feel. Allow ourselves to feel what is happening. This is when we start realizing that these blockages are there, and maybe if we get hold of the right tools and the right information and the right programs, I like to call them, then I can shift and make that transformation, if it's talking to me, smoother, faster, maybe
fluid.
Yeah.
Feels like flow and fluidity.
Exactly.
Smoother.
Yeah. Instead of having, like and we were just talking earlier, like why do people, most of us in fact, have to go through really, really kind of like heavy hardships in order to learn something? And this is something that
imagine
can be
if we
fixed.
just, enjoyed soft ships, but then they would probably sink on the water. So, it's we enjoy safe hardships, and it feels like, and again, forgive me for just interjecting here. It feels like I love to call these challenges life catalysts. Yes. Because it also makes sense that we are transformation, but we are also catalysts. And we are also the result of transformation. We are the dance of those three energies. So sometimes a catalyst can feel very destructive, very degenerative. Sometimes it's a positive catalyst. And if we take away the significance in terms of what I feel could be this idea of, let's give it this, it's good, it's bad, a value system in terms of what's ethical or unethical or principle. No, if it's just about the mechanics of energy, we might have very positive catalysts or negative catalysts. Very rarely are they going to be neutral, because if they're neutral, we don't have any impetus.
Yeah, there's
to
no result, right? There's no result.
There's nothing will shift us. So it feels like honoring that those life catalysts, those pull, can be explosive and they can feel like a lot of energy. And my loving invitation, I'm really curious. What was your greatest transformation from the experience that has been your journey, this life, this incarnation of you?
Oh, wow. I'm supposed to be asking you the questions, right?
See how we turn it around.
Yeah. But then you're gonna answer that question for me. I will honor your question with an answer, but then you're gonna have to answer yourself as well for the same question. So for me, it's I remember always being that like everything I have to work hard for everything. That was my my kind of, and there's nothing that can stop me, right? Nothing can get in my way. That was me. And then I realized that I can do everything. That's true. But I don't have to do it the hard way. That was my major transformation, learning that I can actually do everything without doing it the hard way, without going through a lot of hassle. But then to reach that place, I had to go through a lot of hassle, if that makes sense. And I think everyone out there, the minute they sit and they go like, finally, when you say finally, it's like you've reached that point where now you understand, wow, okay, I can do this.
Epiphany.
But why exactly? And but why did I have to go through all of this to remember? And again, we talk about remembrance because we know all this. Like as human beings, we have this awareness as part of our soul. But with all the conditioning that we go through in this realm, in this life, and everything that is I don't want to say imposed on us, but just, happening out there, and we're learning from and we're grabbing this information, we reach a place where we are cumulative, number of information, of conditioning, of whatever you want to call it. And that part of our soul is completely hidden somewhere. We don't even know about it. So my major transformation was learning that I have that. That, oh my God, I have so much awareness. I have so much clarity. I have so much gratitude. And every time we talk about this, I am learning more and more. And it becomes just like a snowball, right? It starts with something very small, and then it starts rolling and it starts picking up those additional layers of snow. The same way we've been conditioned is the way we will learn, actually, by peeling and peeling and peeling to get to the core. I like this way of kind of comparing the going inward to peeling the layers of an onion. And how sometimes the onion smells, and this is exactly how we go through life. That smell is the hardship, is those
discomfort,
tiring experiences. Yeah. And then to get to the core of it, which is who we truly are. And that, not in a nutshell, is my transformation. Now I'm going to ask you that same question.
Well, it makes sense. I call myself Phoenix, so it's pretty significant that I embody the energy of transformation. And that was a very conscious choice. And that name was gifted to me, and I decided to keep that name. And it was at an incredibly, I want to say, time of great catalyst, not just for me, but for many around me, many in the collective. And transformation was unavoidable. And it makes sense to me that if I begin with the catalyst for my greatest transformations, because there are many, the catalysts have been carrying life, giving birth to life, in as much as it has been ending life, losing life. So understanding that in a very relatable, human, earth mother sense, giving birth to my children, becoming a mother, massive catalyst for my transformations, and losing children, saying goodbye, and in very real moments believing that my child had died. Huge transformation. And honoring that those, I want to say, those cycles that are us. We are birth and death and transformation. But death is really not death.
Yeah, I mean, depends on how you look at it.
It's all.
For me, I never had the question about it because it's always what's next in my own. Yeah,
Death is what's next. Yes.
Yeah. in my own, and that's why it doesn't scare me.
Oh, I love that.
It doesn't scare me at all. It's like something that I embrace, in fact.
Did you have to experience something near death or someone near death for you to overcome that barrier or of fear?
To be honest, I don't remember going through. Actually, I did go through, but only now I'm remembering that when I was 7, I think I was 7. I almost drowned. That never stopped me from swimming, which is very interesting. But I don't know if that was the incident, but I never in my entire life had that fear. And then when I started learning and when my awareness journey started, I understood why, because I had known that this is not the end. But I didn't know it consciously. Now I know it very consciously because I'm working, you know. I'm doing the work. And I can see it and I can feel it and I can jump into it and you know.
Oh my goodness. I mean, can we tell the secret? It's you are eternal beings, my love. You are infinite consciousness. You can never not exist now that you exist. If you are watching this, you exist and you are conscious. You are consciousness. You can never not be.
That's true. That's true. And the more aware we are, and the more we are in touch with our inner being, because we have two beings, right? We have the vessel, which is the body, and we have the inner being, which is our soul. The more we are in touch with that, the more we remember. The less we are in touch with that, the more we become dependent on the outer world and the material. I like to call it the material world, you know, because it's more of...
And now I hear Madonna in my head.
Yeah, material girl, I think.
In a material world.
Yeah.
We're not so much material girls, are we? And that
No,
makes sense because it feels like we are multi-dimensional beings. And for me, this vessel is not who I am. It is not my being. It is a vessel. It is a ship, a car. It is transportation. And yet I honor it and revere it and deeply, deeply love this body. But understanding that I am not this body and we are multidimensional beings, we get to experience this body and this physical realm. We get to experience this material world for specific reasons, and there is so much value in that. But ultimately, we are spirit, soul, ether. And this is a game, my loves. It's a game, and you get to choose how to play it. And maybe for some, it's a dream, and it's a wonderful dream. And maybe for some, it's a nightmare. But again, you get to decide. Don't just listen to me. You figure it out, my loves. But once we define what this world is, who I am, how I love myself, honor myself, value myself, and what I am here to be. What's my purpose? It makes sense. We get to have a whole lot of fun with transformation.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest transformations out there is understanding our purpose. Because for me, that was my biggest catalyst, actually, for transformation, is remembering my purpose. Why am I here? What am I here to do?
I'm getting excited.
You know?
Tell me
more. And I remember I told this, I think, in season 1, in one of the episodes, that I remembered my purpose while I was doing an online webinar. I was for my clients in my course, and I remembered that live on the webinar, and I had people watching. And I was like, oh my God, I know why I'm here. They were all like, what do you mean? Why are you here? And then I remembered that when I was 5 years old, I used to tell my parents I came here to teach people,
Mm.
you know. And when it came to me, I started questioning it. I'm like, okay, but my parents were both teachers, and I could have taken that from them. But then I remembered the exact words that I used. The exact words were, I came here to teach people, but obviously in Arabic, because I'm Arabic. And I didn't say I wanted to be a teacher like my mom, or I want to be a teacher like my dad. When they used to ask me, what do you want to do when you are older? My answer would be, I came here to teach people.
Mm.
And I only remembered this like a year and a half ago, almost 2 years. And I was like, whoa, this is like so much information for me now at my age, after going through all the experiences, all the transformations that I've been through in my life, to remember at this age that this was why I'm here. This was part of the journey, and the beauty of it, how important that transformation is, because everything that I teach today is from that transformation. I'm not teaching things that are unrelatable or unrelated to me. Everything that I teach is something that I've actually experienced myself, or something that I've actually been through. And when I look around, and we were just talking about this earlier, we all go through the same emotions, experiences, but every single one of us in their own way. But if we look, we all have sadness, we all have love, we all have sorrow, we all have grief, we all go through all these emotions, but every single one separately, or maybe even connected. If I want to think about it really, and I want to dive deep within it, I want to think we do it on a collective level. We don't do it separately.
Wouldn't that be an interesting story if we are actually interconnected, which we are, my loves?
Yes. I mean, we believe, you and me believe that we are, because we've been through that transformation, and we've been through that journey, and we've allowed, and this is one of my latest big aha moments, to allow things to happen for us and not to us.
I love that. Allow. That makes sense to me. You have reduced the barriers.
Exactly.
You're letting more in. I'm gonna
Exactly.
let that in. Let
Exactly.
that in. Absolutely. And it feels like transformation has been a significant theme in my personal journey, in the identity that has been me. And it makes sense because it was about liberating myself from the stories others were creating for me. This is your story. This is the one that you must carry, the one that must be carried on by you. And it was about, no, that's not my story. I'm going to transform that story, because that doesn't feel like a very loving story. In fact, that feels like a pretty scary story. And I'm not enjoying that story. So I'm going to rewrite my story.
Change your story.
I'm going to change the narrative. And as you were expressing about emotions, and, it feels like emotions also line up with what we know as like genres. And those elements of story, that transformation is a vital theme in the fabric of our story, our interconnected story.
Yeah. And I like to add to that, I love that you said this is your story, because many, and I say many, I don't like generalizing, but we know that many people live their lives through the wishes, the demands, the dreams
Mm.
of other people, especially when we are young. We want to please our parents, we want to do the things that they couldn't do, or we want to do the things that they dream for us to do. Like, I can tell you, my father wanted me to be either a lawyer or a doctor, and I ended up doing communication arts and drama, and he was like, but yeah, you've lived your life. Now it's my turn. I want to live my life under my terms, because this is why I'm here. I mean, and I didn't know then, but I was like, for me then it was more of a rebellion, more of, no, I'm not going to do what you want me to do. And it only made sense to me in my mind that, why am I supposed to do what you want me to do? You want to do this? You do it yourself.
Go and become a lawyer.
Yeah, why do you want me to do it?
Go be a doctor if you want.
Exactly. And why does it have to be me or my brother or my sister? Allowance comes from that as well. When you want to allow, you don't allow things for yourself only, you allow things for others. Right?
Oh,
that's deep.
Yes. Oh, I love that. You are allowing inside out for yourself and for others. And it feels like that makes so much sense, right? To give others permission to be themselves.
Exactly. And that's when we become more, I think, more forgiving, because, and more understanding, obviously, because then we're not coming from a place where, no, why are you doing this? Or why is this happening? Or why am I creating this? We're more in a place where, okay, let's see, what am I learning here? What is this experience teaching me? What is this experience telling my soul? Right?
I love that. What is this experience telling my soul? And it makes sense to me that sometimes I have had to be very non-accepting, non-allowing, to understand I did not prefer being that way. I will not allow it. Do not have that experience. Do not be that way. Whether as a mother or a lover or even as a friend, to understand and experience the outcomes of that choice so that I could choose to be more allowing and to let others be themselves, because it was far more valuable and far more empowering and far more uplifting and positive for everyone. We all win when we allow each other.
That's amazing.
to be.
And it's also very interesting because you feel like when you allow, your transformation becomes not only yours, becomes also us all.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
And I feel this very very deeply, and I'm conscious of time. And you know what? Talking to you doesn't really have to end ever. Can we keep on doing this forever?
Eternally.
We have to do
Yes,
another.
my loves.
We have to do another one. Maybe not this time, but we will have to do another one. But I want to say something before I close. That's very important. That just coming through is when we allow ourselves a transformation, everyone around us actually starts transforming with us gradually. And I saw this happening with me in my own life, with my friends, especially with my sister, and my sister doesn't even live here. She lives in a complete, she lives on the other side of the planet. And when I started working on myself and transforming, she started transforming as well. And she had her own journey, which wasn't really that pleasant. But the idea is that my transformation kind of was the catalyst for her transformation. And it affected her because, as we know, on a soul level, when we work on our soul, it doesn't just affect us, it affects other souls that are connected to our soul. We call them our soul family, right? And you are my soul sister. We've established that already. But I want to finish with this, that transformation, I would say, and I don't like using negative words, I would say take transformation as a positive attribute in your life and embrace it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the gift of this experience. And thank you to all your loving listeners. Thank you for their curiosity, their attention. And it makes sense to me. We have all been transformed by this moment, and I'm excited to experience more moments of transformation with you, my love.
Thank you so much. And Phoenix, I know you're here for only 2 days, and thank you for giving me this time to allow sharing your insights and your knowledge. And I don't like calling it knowledge, I like calling it like really insight and connection. For me, it is connection. When we know, we're connected. When we don't know, we're actually disconnected. That's what I feel. And I think maybe I will do another. Hey, let's do another episode, okay, in the future, that we're going to be talking about connection. We can call it I Am Connection. What do you say? Yeah.
Yes.
So I promise you guys, we will, in season 2, ideally, maybe season 3, depending on when Phoenix is going to be in Dubai again. But I promise you, we're going to have another episode with her. Isn't she beautiful? And
we are stunning, magnificent. But also, I love learning from you. I love
learning
witnessing
from you.
you.
I think we are a combined powerhouse, I like to call us. Yeah. And I truly believe every single human being is a powerhouse. They just need to remember, not need to, okay? Nothing needs to happen.
Get you.
They just ideally would become that powerhouse the moment they start working and the moment they start going inwards and learning more about themselves and understanding who they are and truly loving who they are, so that from that self-love, it's like, for me, self-love is like a volcano that's just waiting to erupt. And then when it does, everything beautiful comes out of it. It's not a destructive volcano. It's more of a very powerful, very constructive, very enabling volcano.
Infinitely revitalizing.
Yes.
When you truly connect with self-love,
yes,
your energy completely transforms, and it makes sense, my love.
It does.
I'm excited for you and your transformations and to witness more of these experiences that you are bringing in. Thank you, my love. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. And I will see you again in another episode. I'm sure of it.
Let's do this.
Let's do this.
I'm ready.
Right. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching us. We're going to be with you and listening to us. I always forget that this is a podcast because we're filming. So thank you for watching us, for listening to us, and we'll see you in the next episode. And Akram will see you in the Arabic episodes. Ciao, ciao.